Ah, Minnesota. Beauty, sunshine, and lots of wide open spaces. Most of America doesn't know about how amazing Minnesota really is. While lots of places in the North Star State are truly fabulous, there's also places here that have some major issues. The worst parts of Minnesota. You know them when you see them. They're the parts of Minnesota where you don't want to live, even if they are full of nice people. The goal today is to highlight the places in Minnesota that are the worst of them all. How do we do it? We measure the things most bad places have. You know, where people are broke and where crime is higher than average. We even measured the public school education levels. Let's get started.
Shall we begin?
Our first stop on our unfavorable journey through Minnesota starts in Waite Park, just outside of St. Cloud. Believe it or not, but little Waite Park has more property crimes per capita than anywhere else in the state. Sure, a big part of that's because of the high number of retail options, but a crime is a crime. So it sounds like you might need to lock up your car in Waite Park, or it might be gone by the time you finish up at Target. Way up along I-35 north of Minneapolis is the itty-bitty city of North Branch. What's the issue here? Mainly public schools and lack of jobs. The public schools here are rated third worst when you factor in spending levels and classroom sizes. The unemployment rate here is close to 6%, which is really high for the hardworking state of Minnesota. What's some good news about North Branch? Well, judging by the number of meth labs in Chisago County, it sounds like you could make some extra money on the weekends. Just make sure to make enough for the folks in Coon Rapids. They're always ready to buy. Where's the 8th worst city to live in Minnesota? The folks in Virginia might not be too happy to hear it, but it's you betcha. The crime here is the 11th highest in the state. Income levels and home values are in the bottom 10, and the unemployment rate is far above average. Plus, for a decent job, you'd have to schlep all the way to Duluth back and forth every day for work. Yuck. The good news? Most of the hundreds of jobs that U.S. Steel laid off at its Mintac plant on the Iron Range are coming back. So for Virginia folks, that's fabulous. Continuing our worst tour of Minnesota, we come to International Falls, way up near the Canadian border. Say what you want about natural beauty and friendly people. The economy here is lousy. There's more people out of work in International Falls than anywhere else in the state, and income levels mean lots of folks struggle to make ends meet. As a result, home prices are the bottom barrel in the state. Plus, let's be honest, Minnesota, they call it the icebox of the nation for a good reason. On the bright side, Falls High School has 7 Minnesota state hockey titles. Go Broncos! If you took your beat-up car up Route 2 from Duluth, before you even had to chain up, you'd be in Grand Rapids, Minnesota. Grand Rapids is just below average in every category. It has the 3rd worst unemployment rate, 14th lowest incomes, and crime is in the worst 20%. Sure, Grand Rapids might be the best place to live in other states, but when comparing Minnesota cities to one another, it's towards the bottom. On the bright side, the people in Grand Rapids make more money than the people in Brainerd, so they can brag about that if they want to. We built this city, and now it sucks. Welcome to Bemidji, the 5th worst place to live in the entire state. Perhaps at one point this was a great place to live, but currently Bemidji's crummy. Crime, income levels, and home prices are all in the bottom 15% in the state. In fact, Bemidji has the 2nd highest property crimes per person in the state. Sure, up here a smashed mailbox or a bar fight might be big news, but like we said before, a crime is a crime. On a positive note, it can't be that bad here. After all, someone's selling these handsome t-shirts on the internet for $43.99. Holy buckets! Right along Route 65 north of Minneapolis is the city of Cambridge, which has seen far better days. In Cambridge, more than 6% of people are out of work, the schools are the 15th worst in the state, and crime is just outside the top 10. So sure, Cambridge has some really good people with some strong family ties, but the economy here is spiraling downhill. On the bright side, Cambridge has a Caribou Coffee and a Target. And if you're a film buff, we have to mention that Cambridge has several Redbox rental machines, where you can check out all the latest movies. About halfway between Bemidji and St. Cloud is Brainerd, Minnesota. Sure, Brainerd's a beautiful getaway for city slickers, but when you look at the data, this place has some issues. The Route 371 bypass has hurt Brainerd economically. Folks here are the lowest earners of all Minnesotans, and a 6.5% unemployment rate doesn't help matters either. So unless you want to serve coffee to out-of-towners, this isn't a great place to start a career by any stretch. If you took I-94 north out of downtown, after a handful of exits, you'd come to Brooklyn Center, Minnesota, and you'd be scared. Brooklyn Center is what many people might refer to as a Minnesota ghetto. If you don't watch your back in certain parts of Brooklyn Center, you're gonna have a bad time. In fact, even if you wear the wrong hat in the wrong place here, you might get iced. So you better play it safe if you want to stay out of trouble. It seems like just about every other day there's some news coming out of Brooklyn Center about a shooting, mugging, or some other crime. However, we have to mention that Brooklyn Center is home to one of the only tumbleweed sightings in the entire Midwest. And where's the worst place to live in Minnesota? That would be North Minneapolis, hands down. One of only a few parts of Minnesota that's dangerous and with a really bad economy. Crime is off the charts, people are broken out of work, and basically a large part of the community here is just plain uninspired. When you're in some of the worst Minnesota communities, some parts might be hard to tell apart, but you can tell who's from North Minneapolis, so they're the ones with the 40, the pistol, beat up car, and a pit bull. And on the bright side, if you do live in one of the cities we talked about, this might help keep the annoying Wisconsin residents out. Congratulations.